for education, vocational skill training, and the future. Cultural rituals and ceremonies. So significant that in the post-war context, though under considerable restrictions and monitoring by the military, communities have resorted to traditional practices like oppari, form of traditional lament, and kutu, very similar to the Kandian dance that we just saw, to express their grief and find solace. It can be expected that communities will regain their natural resilience when performing customary rituals, observe ceremonies like remembrance days, and partake in community gatherings and festivals. This would give some relief from grief and guilt, create faith and meaning, and social support and networks. One way that we have tried to encourage cultural practices is through using relaxation methods, cultural relaxation methods. Another important cultural method is to construct monuments that would help focus and express emotions after mass trauma, which have been called traumascapes. So this is cultural relaxation methods in the community, and this is using monuments. For example, a civil monument at Mullibaikal to all who died there, the military, the militant and civilians, by a sensitive sculptor and having national ceremonies annually would go a long way towards reconciliation. We have found that during the war and after tsunami, creative arts are valuable conduits for expression of emotions, finding meaning and developing community narratives. Practices like the kutu, other dramatic forms, laments, poetry, writings and drawings should be encouraged and promoted. School-based programs, has been mentioned, is a positive structure and one of the first to revive during the recovery phase in the Banni IDP camps and the resettlement process. The importance given to education in Tamil culture should be promoted, and it can help to re-establish old routine structures and hope in the future. Teacher counselors can further function to organize activities in the classroom and schools, such as play, group activities, creative endeavors, and intercommunal relationships. Facilitating families and communities to settle in their own homes and villages is another way of promoting healing. Resettling in the ancestral home, village or region has been shown to have a healing effect and build resilience. Finally, prevention. Prevention is better than cure. In the long term, collective trauma should be prevented from occurring in the first place. Tragically, much of the deaths and destruction caused by natural disasters can be avoided or at least mitigated. This is even truer for human-caused disasters and war. In many cases of natural disaster, poor and excluded communities were located in vulnerable areas. Warnings were not issued or followed, or plans were forgotten. In the heat of battle, none of the protagonists maintained maps of where they laid landmines. as they are expected to do by international convention, making it so much harder for demining and civilian resettlement. Wars and conflict can be prevented and psychosocial well-being endured by appropriate conflict resolution mechanisms, equitable access to resources, power sharing arrangements, social justice and respect for human and social rights. Techniques such as torture and disappearance cause long-term sequelae in individuals, their family and communities, and can be prevented if international conventions and humanitarian law and treaties are observed. It is worthwhile planning beforehand to prevent or mitigate the impact of disasters at the community and family levels. There should be regional and international mechanisms to protect civilians in times of conflict, or as has been mentioned, when powerful leaders and state overstep boundaries of good governance and observation of basic rights. Thank you for your patient listening.